Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Living a life that seemed ordinary to anyone who looked at it from the outside, I was a man in my mid-30s with a regular job and a quiet home life. My wife and I had settled into a comfortable routine, but there was a part of me that always felt hidden, tucked away where no one, not even my wife, could see it. This secret part of me was my love for cross-dressing. It was something I discovered early in my life, but I had always kept it hidden, fearing the reactions it might provoke. My collection of women's clothing, wigs, and makeup was safely tucked away in a hidden compartment in our bedroom, a place I believed was secure from prying eyes. My days were a cycle of work and home, maintaining the facade of a typical suburban life. But whenever I was alone, I would open that secret compartment and let my true self out. The feel of the fabrics, the transformation that makeup and wigs allowed, was like a release for me, a way to be who I really felt I was inside. It was a late evening in autumn when everything changed. I had just returned from work and my wife was out with friends. I saw it as a perfect opportunity to indulge in my secret passion. I carefully selected a soft, flowing dress, a contrast to my usual work attire. It was a beautiful shade of lavender with delicate lace detailing at the hem. I paired it with a long, wavy brown wig and began the process of applying makeup, something I had learned to do with precision and care. Just as I was finishing up, adding the final touches of lipstick, I heard the front door open. Panic gripped me. My wife was home early. In a frantic effort to hide everything, I scrambled to put the dress back, but it was too late. She walked into the bedroom and her eyes fell on the dress in my hands. For a moment, there was a deafening silence. The look on her face was a mix of shock, confusion, and something else I couldn't quite decipher. Then the questions began, her voice rising with every word. "What is this? Why do you have these clothes? Is there something you're not telling me?" I tried to explain, my words tumbling out in a rush. "It's mine. I like to wear them. It's part of who I am." But it was as if my words only fueled her anger more. "You've been lying to me all these years," she shouted, her face red with anger and disbelief. "I don't even know who you are." The room felt like it was spinning as the argument escalated. Accusations were thrown, hurtful words that couldn't be taken back. I tried to make her understand, to see that this was a part of me I had struggled with for so long, but it was like talking to a wall. The fight seemed to go on forever, every word creating a wider rift between us. In the end, she said something that struck me to the core. "I can't be with someone who's living a lie. I need to be with someone real." That night, she packed a bag and left. The silence that followed was overwhelming. I sat there, in my half-done makeup and the dress I had so lovingly chosen, feeling a profound sense of loss. It wasn't just the end of my marriage. It was the shattering of the life I had known. In the days that followed, the house felt emptier, the rooms echoing with the remnants of our last conversation. I was alone with my thoughts, my secret no longer hidden but exposed in the harshest light. It was the end of one chapter of my life, but little did I know, it was also the beginning of another. I spent long hours looking at my collection of women's clothing, each piece a reminder of who I really was inside. It was during these moments of solitude that I made a decision. I was going to start living as my true self, no longer hiding. As I closed the chapter of my life with my wife, a new door opened, leading to a path I had never dared to walk before. Alone in my home, where once my wife and I shared our days, I found a different kind of comfort. It was like having a blank canvas, a chance to start painting my life in colors that felt true to me. The first thing I did was open the secret compartment where I kept my collection of women's clothes. Now there was no need to hide them anymore. I took them out and arranged them in the closet and drawers, giving each piece the space it deserved. I stood there for a moment looking at the array of dresses, skirts, blouses, and accessories. Each item was a piece of the puzzle that was my true self. There were so many colors, patterns, and styles. It was like a rainbow of possibilities. I felt a thrill thinking about trying them all, seeing how they looked on me, and how they made me feel. The next day, with the house all to myself, I decided it was time to dive into my passion fully. I chose a dress that always made me feel special. It was knee-length with a floral pattern in shades of pink and green. It had a soft, silky feel, and when I put it on, it swished around my legs in a way that made me smile. Then I moved on to the wigs. I had several, each giving me a different look and feel. That day, I picked a shoulder-length one with curls that bounced as I moved. It was a warm chestnut color and framed my face nicely. Makeup was the next step, and I approached it like an artist with a palette. I had learned a lot from watching videos and practicing. I started with foundation, creating a smooth base. Then I added a bit of blush to bring some color to my cheeks. Eye makeup was my favorite part, a sweep of eyeshadow, a line of eyeliner to define my eyes, and a few coats of mascara. Finally, I chose a lipstick, a soft pink that matched the dress. Looking in the mirror, I felt a sense of happiness. This was me, the person I had kept hidden for so long. I twirled a bit in front of the mirror, enjoying the way the dress moved with me. The final touch was a pair of flats. Simple, comfortable, but pretty. I took a deep breath. It was one thing to dress up in the privacy of my home, but I had never dared to step outside like this. I walked to the front door, my heart beating a little faster. This was a big moment for me. Opening the door, I stepped out into my garden. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. It was a beautiful day, and for the first time, I was part of it as the real me. I walked around the garden, feeling the breeze on my face and the sun warming the fabric of my dress. It was a mix of nervousness and excitement. I was scared someone might see me, but at the same time, I felt so happy to be out in the open. After a while, I went back inside. That small step of walking in my garden felt like a big achievement. I spent the rest of the day trying on different outfits, each one making me feel a bit more confident. By the evening, I had another idea. I wanted to take a walk around the block. It was getting dark, so I thought it would be less likely for someone to recognize me. I chose a simple outfit, a pair of jeans and a nice top, along with a wig that looked close to a natural hair color. Stepping out that evening, I felt my heart racing. I walked quickly, keeping my head down at first. But as I walked, I started to feel more comfortable. No one seemed to notice me, or if they did, they didn't show it. By the time I got back home, I felt a sense of achievement. It was a small step, but it meant a lot to me. As the days went by, I found myself growing more comfortable with my new routine. Each morning, I would wake up, pick out an outfit that made me feel good, and spend some time doing my makeup and hair. It was like playing dress up, but it also felt very real. I was not just dressing up, I was being myself. One sunny afternoon, I decided to go shopping. I wanted to buy some new clothes and maybe a few accessories to add to my collection. I chose a pretty outfit for the outing, a knee-length skirt with a floral pattern, a white blouse, and a light cardigan. My hair was in a neat bob-style wig, and my makeup was done just the way I liked it. Walking through the mall, I felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. It was still new to me, being out in public like this. But as I browsed through the stores, picking out clothes and trying them on, I started to relax. The store clerks were kind, and no one seemed to pay me any extra attention. Then, as I was looking through some earrings at a jewelry store, I heard a familiar voice. It took me a moment to place it, but when I turned around, I saw her. It was my ex-wife standing just a few feet away, looking at some necklaces. My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't seen her since the day she left our home. For a moment, she didn't recognize me. I saw her glance my way, then look away, not realizing who I was. It was a strange feeling, being so close to her and yet invisible. But then, as I reached for a pair of earrings, our eyes met, and I saw the moment of recognition in her face. Her expression was one of shock, confusion, and something else I couldn't quite read. It was as if she was seeing someone she knew, but at the same time didn't know at all. "Is that you?" she finally asked, her voice uncertain. I nodded, not sure what to say. "Yes, it's me," I managed to say. We stood there for a moment, just looking at each other. I could see her trying to process the sight of me, the way I was dressed, the way I looked. It was a lot to take in, I knew that. Finally, she spoke again. "You look different," she said, and I couldn't tell if it was a compliment or just an observation. "Thank you," I said, not knowing what else to say. It felt awkward standing there in the middle of the jewelry store. There was a pause, and then she asked the question that was probably on both our minds. "How have you been?" "I've been okay," I said. "Just trying to figure things out, you know?" She nodded, looking down at the necklace she was holding. "I see," she said, and there was a hint of sadness in her voice. The conversation was brief. We talked a little about how things were going, but it was clear that things were different now. We were no longer the couple we used to be. We were just two people who used to know each other very well. As she said goodbye and walked away, I felt a mix of emotions. There was sadness, of course, but also a kind of relief. It was the first time I had interacted with someone from my old life while being my true self, and it hadn't been as scary as I had thought it would be. I spent the rest of the day thinking about that encounter. It was strange to think that the woman who had been my wife, who had known me for so many years, had looked at me like a stranger. But it also made me realize that I was truly starting a new chapter in my life, one where I could be myself no matter how others saw me. In the days following the unexpected encounter with my ex-wife at the mall, I couldn't help but replay the meeting in my mind. It was strange and a bit unsettling to see her reaction to my new appearance. I wondered what she thought and how she felt about it all. But life went on, and I continued exploring my passion for cross-dressing, finding comfort and joy in expressing myself this way. One evening, as I was trying on a new outfit I had bought, a lovely green dress with a flared skirt and a matching belt, I heard my phone beep. It was a message from my ex-wife, something I had not expected at all. She wanted to meet for coffee. The message was brief, but it was clear she had something on her mind. The day of the meeting, I felt a mix of emotions. I was nervous, curious, and a bit unsure about what to expect. I chose to wear something simple but nice, a pair of black slacks and a soft blue blouse. My makeup was minimal, just enough to feel put together. We met at a small coffee shop, a neutral place where we used to go together sometimes. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at a table by the window. She looked up as I approached, and I saw her eyes take me in, a look of surprise crossing her face. "Hi," I said as I sat down across from her. "Hi," she replied, her voice a bit uncertain. "You look really good." The conversation started awkwardly. We talked about mundane things at first, the weather, the coffee, how busy the shop was. But then she shifted in her seat, took a deep breath, and said what was really on her mind. "I wanted to tell you, I'm kind of jealous of you," she said, looking down at her coffee cup. I was taken aback. "Jealous?" I asked, not sure I understood. She nodded. "Yes, you seem so free now, so happy with how you look, and you look beautiful. It's hard for me." Her words surprised me. I had never thought she might feel this way. "I'm sorry," I said, not knowing what else to say. "Don't be," she replied quickly. It's a lot for me to process. Seeing you like this, it's like you're a different person, but also not. It's confusing." We talked for a long time after that. She asked me about my clothes, my makeup, how I learned to do all this. I answered her questions, trying to explain how dressing up made me feel, how it was a part of who I was. It was a strange conversation, talking about these things with my ex-wife, but it also felt good to be open and honest about it all. For the first time, I felt like she was seeing the real me, not just the person she had been married to. As we said goodbye, there was a sense of understanding between us that hadn't been there before. It was clear that our relationship had changed, that we couldn't go back to how things were. But maybe, just maybe, we could move forward in a new way. I left the coffee shop feeling a mix of emotions. There was a bit of sadness, knowing that things would never be the same between us. But there was also a sense of relief, of having shared a part of myself that I had kept hidden for so long. After our meeting at the coffee shop, something changed between my ex-wife and me. We started talking more, mostly through messages at first. She would ask me about fashion, makeup, and even about how I chose my clothes. It felt odd at first, giving advice to her, but it also felt nice to share this part of my life with someone who had been so important to me. One day, she asked if I could help her pick out an outfit for a special occasion. I was surprised, but agreed. We planned to meet at a local mall to go shopping together. I picked a comfortable outfit for the day, a light blue sundress with a floral print and a white cardigan paired with simple flats. My hair was styled in soft waves and my makeup was subtle but effective. Seeing her at the mall, I could tell she was a bit nervous about this new kind of outing with me. But as we started looking through clothes, chatting about different styles and what might look good on her, she began to relax. It was a new experience, shopping with her like this. Before, when we were married, we rarely went shopping together. And when we did, it was never like this, relaxed, open, and fun. We laughed, shared opinions, and even tried on matching outfits just for fun. After a few hours, we found the perfect dress for her, a sleek, elegant red dress that fit her beautifully. She looked in the mirror, turning this way and that, a smile on her face. "I would have never picked this out on my own," she said, looking at me. "Thank you." It was in moments like these that I realized our relationship was shifting. We were no longer husband and wife, not even just friends. We were something different, two people who had shared a past and were now helping each other in a new phase of life. As time went by, our interactions became more frequent. Sometimes she would come over to my house and we would try out different makeup looks together. I showed her how to apply eyeshadow, blush, and lipstick, techniques I had learned and perfected over time. One evening, as we were sitting in my living room, surrounded by an array of makeup products, she looked at me seriously. "I'm sorry," she said suddenly, "for how I reacted when I found out about your cross-dressing. I didn't understand, and I should have been more open-minded." I was taken aback by her apology. It was something I hadn't expected, but it meant a lot to hear it. "Thank you," I said, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "That means a lot to me." From that day on, our friendship grew stronger. We were no longer tied by the bonds of marriage, but by a new kind of understanding and respect for each other. It was a strange journey, going from husband and wife to friends, but it was also a journey that brought unexpected moments of joy and connection. We started going out together more often, not just for shopping, but also for coffee, movies, or just a walk in the park. It was nice to have her company, to share parts of my life that I had once thought I would have to keep hidden forever. My relationship with my ex-wife continued to evolve. We had become close friends, sharing parts of our lives that we never had before. It was a unique friendship, built on the history we shared and the new paths we were both walking. The biggest test of our new friendship came when we decided to attend a social event together. It was a local art gallery opening, and we both wanted to go. "Let's go together," she suggested one day. "As friends, it could be fun." I agreed, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness about the idea. On the day of the event, I chose to wear one of my favorite dresses, a classy black dress with a subtle floral pattern and a soft flowing skirt. I paired it with a pearl necklace and matching earrings. My makeup was done carefully, enhancing my features without being too bold. My hair, styled in gentle waves, framed my face perfectly. When my ex-wife arrived at my house, I was taken aback by how stunning she looked. She wore a dress I had helped her pick, a beautiful shade of navy blue that complemented her eyes. She'd done her makeup just the way I had taught her, and she looked absolutely beautiful. "Wow, you look amazing," I said, genuinely impressed. "Thanks to you," she replied with a smile. "You've taught me so much." We arrived at the gallery together, walking in side by side. It felt surreal being there with her, not as a couple, but as friends. People we knew from our past lives greeted us, some surprised to see us together in this new way. The evening was filled with laughter, conversations, and admiring the art on display. We both received compliments on our looks, and it felt good to be appreciated. I saw my ex-wife chatting confidently with other guests, and I felt proud of her. As we moved through the gallery, I realized how much had changed. We were no longer the people we had been during our marriage. We had grown, changed, and found new ways to be happy. It was a strange feeling, but also a comforting one. At one point, we found ourselves standing in front of a beautiful painting, a vibrant landscape full of color and life. We stood there in silence for a moment, just taking it in. "This is nice, isn't it?" she said, breaking the silence. "Being here like this, as friends." I nodded. "It is. I never would have imagined this when we first met, but I'm glad for it." The night went on, and we continued to enjoy the event. There was no awkwardness, no sadness about the past. Just two friends enjoying an evening out, appreciating the beauty around us and the company of each other. As we left the gallery and said our goodbyes, there was a sense of closure. We had both moved on from our marriage, but we had found something valuable in its place. A friendship that was different, but just as important. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.